I wish you could see this audience, by the way. This is the place to be in North America today. It's not at a courthouse in New York. Trust me. This is going to be far more impactful. So to Darrell White, Ian Bremer, David Jacobson, Brian Tobin, my friends, Jerry Butts, you've done a fabulous job, and many others. My job, this is a great privilege. Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer today is the most talented, popular, and exciting governor in the entire United States of America. Hardly a day goes by when there isn't a newspaper article or a TV vignette about her leadership and the challenges she's faced. Elected governor in 2018, she was already an accomplished leader in our legislature. She was focusing on jobs and economic development, health care, and education when Michigan was hit by a huge flood. Then while she was working to fix our roads, long overdue, COVID was there, hit our country, COVID-19 pandemic. Gretchen met the challenge, as did many of our governors and mayors. Unfortunately, our president at the time was in denial about its seriousness and refused to wear a mask or even recommend our citizens to do so. He became hostile to governors who were taking strong steps to combat the virus. He even attacked Governor Whitmer for urging more federal responsiveness to the needs of states and cities, calling her, quote, that woman in Michigan. Soon after that comment, dozens of protesters showed up on the Michigan State Capitol lawn carrying assault rifles and calling for the governor's removal. When asked about the armed protesters, the president said, well, they like me. It turned out that was the warm-up. That was the warm-up for the January 6th insurrection. Still later in the year, Governor Whitmer was working busily with manufacturing leaders and new investments, increased funding for our schools. The Capitol crazies, the Capitol on crazies, were busy developing a plan to kidnap the governor and even assassinate her. Fortunately, the FBI caught them, and most are now in prison. Governor Whitmer has stayed focused on the job, not letting any distraction stand in her way. She led the fight to guarantee women the right to make their own reproductive health decisions. And she took on all those candidates in Michigan who denied the 2020 presidential election. Fortunately, the people of Michigan responded. Last November, Gretchen Whitmer, known affectionately as Big Gretch, was reelected by a huge landslide, bringing into office a majority of her party in our legislature for the first time in 40 years. And this is what I like. Former First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt liked to say, and I quote, "A woman is like a tea bag. You can't tell how strong she is until you put her in hot water." I give you our strong Michigan governor, Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Gretchen. How are you doing today?
I'm well, Governor. It's good to see you. I always wonder if I can live up to the introduction because no one does it better than you. And I hope you see my Spartan helmet right behind me. Go green.
I do. She's looks like you're in the study of the governor's residence in Lansing, Michigan. So
that's right.
You must be really busy now with that mandate with the legislature. You've got a lot going on. This group here, this is a fabulous turnout of leaders, thinkers, politicians, diplomats, business leaders from all over Canada. Most of them know that Michigan is in the center kind of U.S.-Canadian relations, whether it's manufacturing or autos or clean energy. But from your point of view, you have a lot on your mind. You have a huge plate right now in Michigan. But from your point of view, what do you think would be the most critical aspect of our relationship, Michigan's relationship with Canada?
Well, I don't think there's a state that has a more important relationship with Canada than the state of Michigan. And you mentioned COVID. I can tell you, working closely with a lot of the elected leadership in Canada, we were able to solve problems together, and that's just one salient example of all the ways we work together. We share hundreds of miles of waterways, 3 bridges, a tunnel, and billions in commerce that make this relationship vital both to Michigan and to the Canadian economy. Canada is our largest trading partner, linking supply chains and people. I think that was very clear when we had the brief interruption to the Ambassador Bridge, how important this ongoing relationship and all of these arteries are to both of our economies. And as we continue to bring supply chains and manufacturing back to the U.S. and to North America, I know that our relationship with Canada is going to continue to be crucial to our future economic success. You know, in the last few years, Canadian businesses have announced 26 projects in Michigan, creating over 4,000 jobs. And I get the privilege of working very closely with a lot of the leadership in Canada as we continue to build the Gordie Howe Bridge together, strengthen our ties, and explore additional ways that we can join forces and keep this relationship strong.
Yeah, and I'm glad that Gordie Howe Bridge is moving right along very, very well. Thank you, David Jacobson, Gary Dewar, our two presidents, and your support, Governor. These are some questions that have been prepared for me by the audience. The automotive industry is shifting, we know that. Electric vehicles are now paramount in conversations about the future of the industry. How is Michigan responding specifically to the increased national and global appetite for these cars and for the resources that are required to produce them? And does Canada fit into this production picture?
Absolutely. You know, working with our Canadian friends is really crucial to help ensure that we can secure these opportunities and build on our automotive leadership. And we can't assume because it's been here traditionally, it'll always be here. We've got to work hard, we've got to sharpen our pencils and develop the workforce. And as the auto industry shifts from ICE to EVs, we're really ramping up to compete. We've attracted billions from Ford, GM, LG Energy Solution, and now we're in the process of expanding or building 5 battery plants across the state. And we know it's now the heaviest component of a vehicle, and where those battery plants are, much of the rest of the vehicle will have to gravitate to. So bringing the chip supply chain home is really crucial. We've got growth in 3 new facilities to support this critical component. And by 2030, we've been recognized as one of the 3 states expected to dominate the battery industry, according to CNBC. And I know that our Canadian partners are moving just as fast. Just yesterday, I was visiting the Port of Monroe to talk about how we're upgrading economic infrastructure and ensuring goods we make are distributed efficiently around the world and through the Great Lakes. And I know how important that resource is to all of our economic future. And I'd like to say, you know, our innovative history, our international border, and world-class talent ensures that companies that call Michigan home will have ongoing competitive advantages. But I think as we compete and as we see what the landscape is, where there are partnerships, whether it's in building out infrastructure to support EVs, or it is the components that go back and forth over the Ambassador Bridge because we're working toward the same goals, there's probably a lot more opportunity for us. And I'm eager to forge that opportunity because I think this is such an important relationship to the state of Michigan. And to me personally, I am excited about strengthening this relationship and doing a lot more together.
Well, that's great. I know the time is limited because we were fortunately been able to accommodate your schedule and this program to have you here. So I need to close this out because we promised we'd let you go and meet on your very busy schedule. But is there any parting message you have for everyone here? I mean, we really have the collective leadership of Canada here. The Prime Minister will be here later, and the Premier of Ontario was here earlier, and they were all, the Premier was very positive about working with you. But any parting message to everyone here?
Well, just thank you. I'm grateful for the long relationship that the Canadian business community and government has had with the state of Michigan. It's home to more than 1,400 foreign companies with more than 5,000 locations across our state. We are very much a gateway to the North American market for business around the world to expand. And so my message to all of you is come to Michigan. And in all seriousness, in both Michigan and Canada, we want to grow our economies, create jobs, build thriving communities that are great places to live, work, and start a business and raise a family. And I appreciate your perspective, your leadership, and your partnership as we are navigating whatever challenges are in our future. If we do it together, I know we're going to be mutually successful. So thank you, and I hope you've got a great rest of the conference.
We appreciate you being with us. Thank you very much.